So first things first, we want to apologize for this episode being a little late. It's going to go up on the 13th instead of the 12th.
Very early on the 13th, most likely. But we did that because the 12th was the Video Game Awards, which means a bunch of shit to talk about, basically. Like, it's cannon fodder for interstitial content, but it's the type of thing that's hard to hold on to any level of excitement, or really, in my personal opinion, kind of caring about the overall thing a month later.
Yeah, it would be really weird if we were talking about the VGAs in January 2025.
Yeah.
Like, this is strictly an end-of-the-year thing.
Yeah.
And I think if we waited till next year to talk about it, just a little weird.
Mm-hmm. So we put it off by a tiny bit, not much, but
yeah. So here we are. VGAs have ended. Belatro pretty much did exactly what we expected Belatro to do.
Sweep everything, minus Game of the Year.
I'm not even upset about it not getting Game of the Year.
No, because Astrobot won. I'm just really happy fucking a DLC didn't win Game of the Year.
And I'm not even upset about it not getting Game of the Year.
Yeah, I mean, Astrobot got it, which is great instead. I'm just really happy a DLC didn't fucking win it.
Yeah. Okay, so do you have like highlights from the VGAs, or do you just want to get into like Shadow of the Erdtree being nominated?
Okami sequel! A sequel to Okami!
Friend of the show, JSD
Nomis, who you've heard before.
Yeah, he has been on the show. Is going to be insanely excited about that.
Man loves Okami, because the man has good taste.
I don't know if he stayed up to watch the VGAs.
No idea.
But if he did, I'm assuming he like popped off so hard.
Oh yeah, I would think so.
For me, it was the Witcher 4 trailer that kind of opened the show up.
It also looked very good, yes.
And then Turok getting a not a remake or a remaster, but a new game in the modern era with modern hardware.
Yeah, modern graphics, what looks like much more modern gameplay, but honestly not too far from Turok, because Turok was one of the OG shooters.
Look, I've made no secret that Horizon Zero Dawn was one of my favorite games from the PlayStation 4.
Yeah, because it was robot dinosaurs.
Yeah, and people like online talk about Horizon Zero Dawn as if it's like a super mid game, and like oftentimes people be like, it's an industry like plant.
Yeah, I've seen it.
And I'm like, motherfuckers, I love that game. Like,
I know you do.
It's so much fun. Just running around, killing giant robots and robot dinosaurs. And
fair. But now you can run around and kill alien dinosaurs.
And we're gonna see how the entire series started.
Yeah, because it's a prequel.
I'm so excited.
I love how you were like, oh, this game looks really interesting, but it looks kind of familiar, and I'm just sitting here like, it's dinosaurs and people who look vaguely First Nations. It's Turok. I didn't say the first part out loud, but I was like, dinosaurs, it's shooting, it's Turok. And you're like, wait, what? And then Turok popped up, and you're like, yeah!
I will say, one of my favorite parts of the entire Video Game Awards this year was that trailer where initially I was like, oh, because the stream we were watching was like, is that Ghost of Tsushima? I was like, well, it's Ghost of Yotai. And I was like, no. It kind of like Assassin's Creed, and I was like, it's just Onimusha. And like, I said it as a joke. I was like, Onimusha 4.
And then I saw a red spirit floaty thing on the screen. I went, oh yeah, it's Onimusha. And I don't know if you thought I was like just getting in on your joke or not, but like I saw that and I was like, no, those are the things you collect in Onimusha. That's your like ways to level up.
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense. I just did not expect Onimusha to
Fair.
get a new
I don't
game.
think anyone really was. Dude, Capcom went off this fucking year.
Honestly, that was the story of this year's Video Game Awards. Like, there's another story we can talk about with Belatro and Astrobot and Shadows of the Erdtree, and that story deserves to be talked about too. The real story is how many fucking game series just came out of, like, deep sleeps, being actively dead, and new content just coming out.
Yeah.
We got new Virtua Fighter.
Yeah.
We got new Turok.
Yep.
New Onimusha. Mm-hmm. New DNF.
DNF hasn't really been in asleep. It's been mostly on like mobile, from my understanding, recently. But like 2 new DNF things, like big DNF projects, crazy. Yeah, we're getting Double Dragon again.
New Double Dragon, new Double Dragon.
Mm-hmm. You can tell the main characters apart now, other than by hair color and the outfit. They look distinctly different.
It was a Game Awards filled with a bunch of like old is new, essentially. Like, yeah. It's even so far as Okami 2 was also the announcement that Studio Clover was back together. Like, Studio Clover has been reformed and they're making games again.
And even outside of that, games are also going back to the past, by which I mean Ryuga Gotoku, who are doing the new Virtua Fighter because they are a subsidiary of Capcom. Mm-hmm. Capcom owns... Not Capcom, Sega, sorry. Sega. Owns Virtua Fighter. They are also making a Yakuza 1915 game, so there's just a fucking Yakuza game set in Taisho 4 or some shit.
And then there's the new
era of Japan.
There's the new Mafia game, which is set in...
Mafia the Old old country, yeah.
Which is set in the 1900s Sicily, early 1900s Sicily. And then there is a game that comes out literally the day that this podcast goes up, Warframe 1999, which is just an expanded story for Warframe.
But they're going back to 1999.
Time
travel.
There was so many games and stuff that like either came out tonight or comes out tomorrow. If we count Warframe 1999 into that, I feel like that's worth just pulling in. And I know that was like Zelda was the first one to like do that big. Like they're like the Master Cycle expansion is out now. Yeah. And like now everybody, it's kind of like, but it's still cool. Like
and even the things that are set in the future have a retro vibe to them. I'm talking particularly about Intergalactic Heretic Prophet.
I think that's the subtitle.
Yeah, but it has a retro vibe to it. Like it definitely feels like it's kind of catching like the Cowboy Bebop retro future vibe. And like even has like retro anime reference in it. Like, well, not even reference. There is a retro style anime playing on the screen of the television the person's watching, and like it's so retro. It gives me like Dirty Pair vibes, which Dirty Pair was like 1985 or some shit.
There were a lot of people in the chat for the stream we were watching that was like, "Is this somehow Bebop related?" And like, it didn't have Bebop vibes.
No, it's like Porsche on the fucking spaceship, and I went, no, can't be.
There's so much product placement in that trailer.
Porsche, Sony,
Adidas.
There's a Pet Shop's Boy CD playing. Not really product placement, but like,
I'm sure Sony owns that.
I mean, they probably own the music rights to it, yeah. But like, yeah, no, there's a bunch. But like, the anime that we're playing gave me massive Dirty Pair vibes, and I was like, that's crazy.
Game looks really good though.
Yeah, it looks neat.
It'd be hard for us to sell you on how the game looks, but
apparently everything they showed was in engine. So
game looks fun, looks good.
It looks quite good.
I wish we saw more actual gameplays. Like we always saw was
story intro.
Yeah, the gameplay looks like it could be Souls-esque.
Maybe. Yeah.
I hope it's not like strictly Souls-esque. Like
same. Otherwise, I won't play it.
I wouldn't be upset if the combat took some notes from Souls.
Sure, that's fine.
I just don't need every game to like feel like it has to punish me.
Yeah, please don't. I don't. That's not fun. It bores me.
And out of the two of us, I like Souls games.
I don't. They bore me.
I spent the entire time watching Video Game Awards being like, Bloodborne 2, Bloodborne Remake, Bloodborne Remake, Bloodborne 2.
It's fine. I got a no Kami sequel.
Yeah, that's fair. I think Turok might be more exciting than a Bloodborne sequel.
Fair enough.
Not more exciting than a Bloodborne remake.
Yeah.
A Bloodborne remaster for the PC would be the literal, like, hypest thing they could have announced.
Yeah.
But Turok's cool.
I honestly think the thing I was least excited for when they showed it was Borderlands 4, which just shows how much goodwill fucking 2K and Gearbox ruined, at least for me, when they did Borderlands 3.
So, I was going to say but I think the correct statement is we still haven't beat Borderlands 3.
Yep.
Primarily because Borderlands has always, like, had it, like, Borderlands 1 and 2 very much had couch co-op split screen down. Like, yeah, it was great couch co-op.
And pre-sequel does it as well.
And pre-sequel. Borderlands 3's couch co-op is basically impossible to play.
Yeah, anytime someone opens up their menu screen, it lags like fucking horribly. It's just a bad time.
And we've talked about that.
And the story's not good.
And maybe if one of those two things would have been forgivable, but on top of paying like the ridiculous top tier pre-order price I paid for it because I was a diehard Borderlands fan.
Yeah.
Those two things together made the game feel unplayable. Even though the game was, like, fine.
If you played it online, not trying to play couch co-op, gameplay was fine. Gameplay was actually pretty good. You didn't have the problem with opening up your menu and watching everyone else freak out because you're like, I opened it in combat because I needed to change my gun out. They're like, well, I just died because of that.
Because the entire game would lag out. And like,
or hey, you are exploring, so you think you're able to open your inventory no problem. And the other person's like, what the fuck? You just killed me. I was jumping, and then the game fucked it up.
And it wouldn't be so bad, but we have it for PlayStation 4. We have it for we have two copies.
Yeah. One
digital, one physical, and two PS4s. But that means in order to play it together, we both have to have PS Plus.
Yeah.
So in addition to paying $180 for two copies of the game, we had to pay like $20 a month. To be able to play it together.
We did that for a bit. And then we realized the story wasn't worth that. The story wasn't worth paying $20 so we could finish it.
Yeah. So what I'm saying is, Borderlands 3 really destroyed any interest I have in Borderlands.
Yep. That's why I said I think Borderlands 4 is my least hype thing.
That said,
the racing game Screamers looks more exciting to me.
Screamers looks awesome.
I'm not a huge fan of racing games, but you know what? It looks better.
But Wonderlands did come out after Borderlands 3, and Wonderlands is a better experience.
Yeah, because they just did 2 again.
Yeah, so if Borderlands 4 could be like closer to 2 or pre-sequel or Wonderlands than 3,
yeah,
It doesn't help that Borderlands 4 announcement was by
Randy Pritchford.
Randy Pritchford. I hate that guy.
Yeah.
I have hated that guy ever since, like, I saw his Twitter account for the first time.
Yeah, like, back before Borderlands 3 even came out. You're like, it's fine, I like Borderlands. I can ignore the guy in charge of the studio.
Like, the only reason I ever followed him on Twitter was because he tweeted shift codes.
Yeah.
But he's also, like, he's very Elon Musk.
Mm-hmm.
He's got that energy. His ego is super fragile, and he thinks he's super important.
Yeah.
And that combination of things is not interesting or fun to, like...
No, it's not. You know what I was surprised we didn't get any more of, though? So, Kojima was there, but we didn't get anything about any of his games. We didn't get anything about Death Stranding 2 or OD. And I don't give a fuck about Death Stranding. But I was and am still intrigued by OD just because Jordan Peele's involved in it. And I was actually kind of hoping for some more OD information.
I don't know if he was joking, but Kojima did tweet the other day, like earlier this week, that he was working on Death Stranding 2, and while playing it, he died while doing a transport run.
Yeah.
And then he just stopped. He decided he was done, and just, like, he didn't want to do it anymore. That was his tweet. He's like, it stopped being fun. Which would be hilarious to me.
Yeah.
If Kojima was just like, you know...
That game's not that fun. I was wrong.
I was wrong. I fucked up. Somebody should have said no.
But no, I went and made my own studio, and now no one can tell me no.
I might be wrong. It could have been like somebody masquerading as Kojima on Twitter, because Twitter's now the Wild West of the internet. Nobody knows who's who, because blue check marks don't mean you've been verified. They mean you pay Elon Musk money.
Yeah. But Josh, you're not allowed to pretend to be someone else on Twitter. You can get banned for it. He looked very scared, in case you were wondering. Like, terrified about the prospect of being banned on Twitter.
You know that little motion people do with their hands when they're going, woo? I did that. Ooh. Oh, no. I don't even go on Twitter. I only saw that push notification on my phone. Twitter has been very insistent about sending push notifications to me since I stopped using Twitter.
I know, push notifications have been a massive thing for a very long time since I reinstalled Twitter, because you're like, we should do more with the podcast account. I went, I guess I'll put it back on. I haven't touched it. I haven't, like, touched Twitter or...
I really should go in and change the push notifications for it, because... Like, I honestly think the app has recognized that I spend less screen time in Twitter now, because it sends me way more push notifications.
Oh, no, it definitely realizes it.
It's like, I wake up to like 4 push notifications.
No, it is the thing I get the most push notifications from, and I just keep forgetting to turn it off, because occasionally I'm like, some of these are of vague interest, because they're still from people I follow. I care about them posting
For me, at this point, the only reason I haven't turned them off is because friend of the show, Chris, is still using Twitter for some goddamn reason, and I keep getting push notifications of him tweeting and being like, why are you still on Twitter?
Or occasionally he messaged me, is the group thread there.
Yeah, like he did today.
Yeah.
We're calling you out, Chris. It's not intentional, but just fully move to Blue Sky.
I appreciate the updates and notifications of things that you find important that are also honestly very neat most of the time. But my instinct when I see a Twitter notification is just to swipe it away, and then I have to realize, wait a minute, that had Chris's name on it. I should go back and look at it.
Hey, the thing that he linked us today was
a video game.
The Yu-Gi-Oh! Switch collection?
Yes.
It's called Early Days Collection.
Yo, it's got Dungeon Dice on it.
It's got 14 Yu-Gi-Oh! Games.
And Capsule Monsters.
It's got Monster Castle and Dungeon Dice. And I was looking at the list of games and I was like, I honestly don't care. GX was the best Yu-Gi-Oh! Game and it's not even on here.
Yeah, I did look for GX.
And like, it does have Destiny War Traveler, which was fine. Yeah. But he was like super excited because it has Trials to Glory, I think, was the one he was excited about.
The 04 championship game. Yeah, I believe so. That might be the wrong subtitle, but I think it was the 04 one.
Trials to Glory is 05. So he was excited about, it's just Yu-Gi-Oh! World Championship Tournament 2004.
Yep. But personally, I'm more hype about the Capsule Monster and Dungeons Dice because they were both very neat, but they both looked very bad.
Dungeon Dice Monster on the Switch is like my dream come true. Like,
oh yeah, and if they actually update the art, which who knows, they may or may not update the art and graphics. I hope they do.
It could just be ROMs essentially.
Yeah, but if they've updated any art and graphics, it'll look fucking amazing. Because before they both looked quite bad.
And before they were both Game Boy Advance games.
Yeah.
Well, I think all of these games were Game Boy Advance games.
I believe so.
If they do any type of graphical improvement at all, it's all going to look great.
Yeah.
It's all going to be so great. And like, just having access to Monster Capsule and Dungeon Dice Monster on the Switch is by and far away amazing. Dungeon Dice Monster is like the best little like filler arc in any anime ever.
It is fantastic.
But, back to the Game Awards, Balatro is obviously a game that we both loved this year.
It was aight.
It won Best Debut Indie Game for a new indie studio, which also means I guess it doesn't mean, but it also did win Best Indie Game, and then it won Best Mobile Game.
Yep.
And it deserves all of those.
Yeah, it does.
It was only nominated in one more category.
Game of the Year.
And it did not win the Game of the Year.
Which, fair enough. Astrobot won, and Astrobot I've only heard good things about, but I don't have a PS5, so I've never played it.
Mm-hmm. I've heard great things about Astrobot. Even, again, friend of the show, Chris hyped up Astrobot a little bit when it came out, because he has a PS5.
Yep.
But Astrobot, I've heard nothing but great things about, and to see it, like, do super well is really nice. One thing I have to say is, among the Game of the Year nominations
was Elden Ring Shadow of the Erdtree DLC. It's not a fucking game.
Sorry. Game of the Year nominations included, like you said, Shadow of the Erdtree, Black Myth Wukong, Final Fantasy VII Rebirth,
Metaphor Refantasio,
and Balatro and Astrobot.
Yeah.
Now, I don't think Metaphor had a really good chance of winning.
No, JRPGs never feel like they have that great of a chance.
Yeah, Persona 5 winning was wild.
Yeah.
And, like, just a different, like...
It was fucking crazy.
I think Black Myth Wukong had a really good shot at it.
Yeah.
I think Balatro had an underdog shot at it. Mm-hmm. I'm really glad Astrobot ended up getting it, because the only other game that I think had a reasonable shot at it is Elden Ring.
And I am tired of 1, Souls-likes winning, and 2, a DLC should not be viable for Game of the Year.
I don't care about the Souls-like winning thing. Like,
No, I do, but, like, that is not my big issue. My big issue is a DLC should not be viable for Game of the Year.
DLC should only be able to win Best Continuing Game.
Yeah.
Like,
or maybe Best Community Support.
Yeah. DLC should not, no matter how good your DLC is, even if it's Phantom Liberty, or I guess Shadow of the Erdtree, it should not be like winning best game of Game of the Year, or like best direction for new game. Like, it's not a game.
Yeah.
It's not a game. It's more content for a game that's already released.
I get it. Some DLC are so massive and so fucking large that they are basically just an additional game that you don't have to pay for. That's fucking dope. That is a reason the team and the game should win Best Continuing Support or shit like that. Best Community Support, whatever it is. But it's not a new game. Like, that's fucked up. You are cutting out other potential winners because you already like a game that surprised you already like, that was popular already and already won Game of the Year.
I don't think that's the issue. I think the larger issue is that
it also sets a bad standard.
Well, yeah, because like we're not rating Shadows of the Erdtree on how that is as a game from like start to finish.
Yeah.
The Shadows of the Erdtree is not a game from start to finish. Elden Ring is a game that like has a full game.
Yeah, like I am certain the people who made Shadow of the Erdtree put in a lot of fucking work. But I guarantee you it's not nearly as much work that they put into making the original game, because it's the sim system. They made some more art assets. They made a few more things. Yes, it is all still a lot of work. Yes, sequels of games often do shit like that, but they also often update some of its processing power and some of its other things. Some of its gameplay generally gets tighter, changes a bit. They normally add new elements to keep people coming back, right? So I would argue even sequels that are just reusing assets generally do more work than probably went into Shadow of the Erdtree.
Just to be clear, Justice here might be biased against Souls-likes.
I am, but like from the design standpoint, I'm like not even taking that into account. I'm taking into account the fact that it's just a continuation of a thing you already have. You're not updating any of its gameplay or anything, really.
You don't have to defend yourself. Justice here may be biased against Souls-likes. But if you look at my Steam playtime for this year, Elden Ring is in my top 3 games. It's Elden Ring, Witcher 3, and Balatro. Those are my top 3 games this year for playtime. Yeah. I love Elden Ring. I think the game is not as good as Bloodborne, but still one of the best Souls-likes. Yeah. Or Soulsborns, whichever terminology you want to use. I don't think a DLC should win Game of the Year. No. It's disingenuous.
Yeah, that's what I was saying.
I know, but
Yeah, but I also feel like just saying, even though he doesn't play them, it's undercutting the point that doesn't need to be undercut anyways, is what I'm saying. It's
not undercutting the point.
Yes,
You're biased. Your hatred for Souls-likes you might not, in 3 years, a game you love might get a DLC, you might be like, that DLC deserves to win.
No.
But like, I was just making the point that it's not because you hate Souls-likes that you feel this way.
Okay.
I agree with you, I'm just
I don't like the way you express your thoughts. Get good.
Like, Phantom Liberty, if DLC should be nominated in the same categories as games. Yep. Then last year, Phantom Liberty should have been competing in these same categories.
It changed a bunch more about the game than Erdtree did. Yeah. They changed gameplay mechanics. They changed combat slightly. They changed character level up functionality. They changed abilities.
They didn't change those things slightly.
They changed combat and gameplay slightly. They changed the character abilities a fuck ton. Yes, they introduced vehicle combat. They introduced new vehicles. They introduced a lot of things that I would argue they did more work making Phantom Liberty than the team for Shadows of the Erdtree probably needed to do. Obviously, I don't know. I don't know what their production schedule was like. I don't know what all work they put into it. But just looking at all the things that changed and or were added, Phantom Liberty feels like more work was put into it.
Yeah,
and is thus more of a game than Shadow of the Erdtree. But guess what? It's still not a different fucking game either.
Exactly,
and I like Cyberpunk.
I also liked Cyberpunk, and then they went and made Phantom Liberty.
Really more, they made the 2.0 patch for Phantom Liberty, and that's what killed it for you.
They overhauled the entire game and broke character builds so badly.
Yeah, most people were happy about it. They just ruined one specific build, really, compared to everything else, but that was the one specific build you were using.
You don't have to rebalance single-player games.
Yeah.
Because, I think we can go back to
I get it. You were playing on easy, and now you're upset that easy's gone. Look, not everyone's supposed to be able to play every game.
What a wild... I know you're being facetious, but
I am using the Souls-like arguments I've seen from so many people online.
We can go back to Borderlands 3 with this. Because Borderlands 3 has the exact same issue as with rebalancing games that don't have competitive play.
Yeah.
Where they continually rebalanced character classes and changed how things worked, even though nobody was bitching about anything.
This one person is slightly better than the other. It's like, no one gives a fuck. They're playing with friends and having fun. If someone's upset about it, they can play the other character.
Yes. And in Cyberpunk, if somebody was upset about it, they could just build a different build.
Yeah.
But now...
Yeah, I get it. You just wanted to play on easy.
Not
every game needs an easy mode.
I'm playing Witcher 3 on Death March right now, and I've been playing a lot of Elden Ring. Sometimes I just want a game where I'm overpowered and it's stupid, okay? Okay, is that so wrong?
Play Undefeated, or Prototype, or Infamous.
Is it so wrong to just want to be unstoppable
the very best,
sometimes?
Like no one ever was?
Speaking of, there was a trailer for Pokemon during...
Yeah, there was.
Wait, no, hold on. That wasn't Pokemon.
You're right. They didn't throw the ball.
No, they just pointed the ball.
Yep.
Because they can't throw the ball anymore because Nintendo sucks.
Yeah, there was a Power World trailer. I mean, it looked like Power World. I'm not super interested in the game, but I know a lot of people enjoy it, and I understand why from having seen people play it. Just not my cup of tea. Just like how most Pokemons aren't my cup of tea.
Yeah. Speaking of Pokemon, new set comes out for Pokemon Pocket TCG next week. All of those...
Play Monster Hunter now instead of any Pokemon game you can play on your phone. It has new things out right now. If you use the code TGA2024, or it's just TGA24, I don't remember which, you can get new stuff. I don't remember what it is, but you can get it, and you can play Monster Hunter now.
Monster Hunter now is a Pokemon Go clone, but for Monster Hunter.
It's also not really a Pokemon Go clone. It operates very, very differently.
I don't even know if Niantic does it.
No, they don't.
Okay. Niantic, had a game before Pokemon Go.
But, Monster Hunter now runs very differently. You are doing Monster Hunter combat, just, a little boiled down.
Yeah, which is why you never see anybody walking in the commercial.
The most Pokemon Go aspect of it is you'll come across different monsters given where you are. That's really kind of just it. Other than that, you are playing a Monster Hunter Lite version.
Yeah, whereas I'm talking about a trading card game. Pokemon TCG Pocket. I'm only 12 cards from
Just play Pokemon Home on your phone.
Pokemon Home is not a game.
I'm aware.
But I'm only 12 cards away from completing the first set in Pokemon TCG Pocket.
Yeah.
So that's very exciting.
Okay, bud. I mean, honestly, it does sound dope for you.
I mean, I'm missing some foil art
foils and stuff, but you will have
the complete base set.
Yeah, you have the complete base set. And then obviously you want to pimp it out, but that is not a necessary thing to complete the collection.
The really important part is if you have a complete base collection,
it's easier to pimp everything out.
It unlocks the Mew promo card. Which...
I know how to get them, Josh.
Oh, yeah? How do you get a Mew?
You just go north of, I think it's Route 21, and then once you get across the bridge, you go right, and you'll actually enter another area that there's just a truck.
So,
and then
it's not a route. You don't go north of a route. It's north of the SSN.
Yes, I was thinking about the bridge, and for some reason my brain was like, that's a route. I knew it was north of the boat, but I thought there was a route path.
No, there's no route to the SSN.
Yeah.
It's just outside of Vermilion City.
Yeah. You just go north of the SSN, and then when you get to the end of the bridge, right by the land, you turn right, and there's a truck, and you'll find your Mew promo card underneath it.
Yeah, you gotta use strength to move the truck, though.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I'm aware.
Yeah, why don't you have it yet then?
I heard about that on the playground the other day.
Crazy. I heard about it from my uncle who works in Nintendo. Did you know you can play as Chameleon in Mortal Kombat?
Oh.
Yeah, he's a playable character now. He wasn't before. He is now.
No, my O was looking at the notes I have for the VGAs, and I have 2 notes that we haven't even talked about yet.
Yeah?
Yeah. First, musical performances.
They were. Okay.
21 Pilots, which that was an Arcane thing,
Yes.
right? Because it was tie into the best adaptation,
Yep.
which Arcane didn't even win.
Yeah.
Fallout 1, which somebody in chat made a very valid point in the stream we were watching. Arcane is the best show based on a video game property.
But Fallout is the better adaptation. Because, let's face it, League's story is not as, like, deep when it comes to actual games. So, like, an adaptation of it, like a direct adaptation of it's harder.
I think it's less that a direct adaptation is harder, because the story is actually pretty in-depth. There's, like, scrolls worth of...
Yeah, I know, but, like, it's more broken up, is what I'm saying. There's a lot more gaps to fill in on some of it.
Also, adapting League, like, the game of League into a show is very hard.
Yeah.
Whereas they adapted the game of Fallout, stats and everything, and like bobbleheads and like all that shit into the show.
Yeah. I also think as Arcane's a League adaptation, though, you are going to lose people who aren't like big mains or fans of the few champions who show up in Arcane.
I don't think so. Arcane as a show is so popular, I think it's more popular than League is.
Oh yeah, no. Like, I understand, but what I was saying is like on its initial debut, I guarantee you there are definitely people who are like, I don't know.
Where the
like,
fuck is Nautilus?
Why Nautilus isn't in this, or
why
like,
is my main not on screen?
Yeah. Or I was thinking of the hamster guy whose name's starts with an F that I can't remember.
Are you talking about Teemo?
Maybe. I don't fucking know. I don't play League. I don't hate myself. I've played League exactly once. And I was like, oh, I'm not a fan of this. So instead of like every other League player who's like, hey, it's fine, I'll just grind through this for the next like 100 hours, and then I'll finally like League. I went,
the thing to know about League of Legends is you have to learn to love it. Like an abusive relationship.
Or you can just have more self-respect than that. Say no and go play a different game.
Like an abusive relationship.
Yeah.
No, but other than the 21 Pilots Arcane thing, Snoop Dogg also performed.
Yeah, he had a new song.
He also played Gin and Juice.
Of course he did. It's Snoop Dogg.
And it was good. Snoop Dogg did good.
Yeah.
He also has a new game studio.
Death Row Games. They don't have anything yet, but he has a game studio with his son.
And then the other thing I wanted to mention that we hadn't talked about yet was the literal best part of the Game Awards, Statler and Waldorf.
Statler and Waldorf were pretty fucking great.
It really felt like whoever was doing Statler and Waldorf was really pushing the envelope of what they were allowed to do with the Game Awards, because they were like just shitting on Geoff Keighley the entire time. And then also took some pot shots at Kojima, which...
They were pot shots via Geoff Keighley, though. They were more targeted at Geoff Keighley, but Kojima was involved.
Yeah, I think that was the Game Awards.
Yeah.
Oh, the one category that's completely fan-voted, Black Myth Wukong won.
Oh, yeah.
Which, not to sound like... It's not surprising Black Myth Wukong won.
No, it's the new Souls-like, so.
Well, not only that, but like, it's a game from a Chinese developer. It was insanely popular in China. We know because we can see concurrent player counts and when player counts are live, and the player counts most corresponded to when Chinese people were awake.
Yeah.
So a category that's fully open to only online fan voting, and China being the largest population mass, doesn't surprise me Black Myth Wukong won. I've heard the game is very good regardless, but like...
Yeah. Also, as one would expect by this point in time, there were a lot of Hoyoverse games, or Hoyoverse-esque games.
So much Hoyoverse, or things that looked Hoyoverse. I don't know how many times I saw a game and I was like, that looks like Hoyo.
And I would have to go, no, it is not Honkai Impact. It is not Genshin Impact. It is not Honkai Star Rail. It is not Zenless Zone Zero.
Fuck, even one of the DNF games, I was like, that looks like Hoyo.
Despite me telling you multiple times during the trailer that Keighley said it was another DNF game, because it came right after the first Berserker Kazan. And you're like, no, I don't think it is. Like, it is.
To be fair,
literally is.
Even if the game is a DNF game, nothing's stopping it from being Hoyo.
Fair. But it's not.
It's not. I don't know what it's called. It's actually...
Arad, something or other.
Yeah, okay.
Its base name is like part of the original name of DNF in Japan, because in Japan, DNF is Arad Seki.
Yeah, and Kazan, the main character of the previous trailer, is the reason for the curse of Arad.
Yeah.
So...
Yeah, he's the first person to get cursed. But...
I only know that because I can read and I googled Kazan.
Fair.
There was that one.
There's Den of Wolves looks like a very good game if you like Payday. I'm not a fan of Payday, but I think the game looks great if that is the type of game you like.
Oh, I thought you were going to talk about the Den of Wolves promo.
Oh, yes, the channel we were watching originally. They kept talking about how they had a sponsor. They didn't know when the sponsor thing was going to show up because they didn't seem to know who the sponsor was.
Yeah, one of them may have known, but like the person we were watching didn't know who the sponsor was.
They just knew they had an overlay installed that when the sponsor launched it would pop up. So we got through the Den of Wolves trailer. and the Wuthering Waves trailer just started.
Wuthering Waves is more Hoyo?
I don't know if it's Hoyo, but it is very Hoyo-esque. I think it might be a Hoyo-verse game. I couldn't tell you. I didn't get to see much of the trailer because the Den of Wolves trailer, which I would think definitely caused a drop in both these streamers' views, popped up on their screen because they got hacked and was just more trailer stuff for Den of Wolves, which if you followed the link, because I was curious, I did. It just takes you to basically the same screen they had after a point, that when you click on it, it just takes you to the Steam page. But it literally overlaid their entire stream, so you couldn't see the other things running. So we just changed streams to a streamer I actually follow. I just had taken the time to switch over because I was like, it's fine.
Wuthering Waves is not by Hoyo, it's by Kuro Technology. I've never heard of them before.
No idea.
But Wuthering Waves released on May 22nd, 2024.
Yeah, I knew it was already out. It was more stuff for Wuthering Waves. I'd heard about it before. But yeah, the Den of Wolves sponsorship was actually kind of fucking ass. Like, as the person who was running that, if it had been me, I would have been very fucking pissed. Especially because they only paid for an hour of the stream sponsorship, but they needed to watch the entire Game Awards because they didn't know what was going to pop up, which is also fucking, like, bullshit. So not only are you only paying for 1 hour of, like, this 3-hour show.
Wuthering Waves comes to PlayStation 5 on January 2nd, 2025.
Gotcha. So not only are you paying for, like, an hour of, like, this 2-3 hour show, you were then actively interrupting the thing and probably annoying the people in my stream who are tuning in to see the Game Awards and my reactions to it, and I just happen to have a sponsorship for it because, hey, that's a nice thing to have. I probably would have streamed it anyways.
Yeah.
Like, nah, man. Like, I can't say for certain I did not go back to their channel to see how much the viewership had dropped off, but I know it at least lost me, and I assume other people as well.
And it was 2 different streams that...
They were in a voice chat talking.
Well, actually, I think because all the pop-ups had different, like, stream names with has been hacked, has been hacked, has been hacked.
Yeah.
I think that was, like, all the people that were sponsored.
Yeah, probably.
And so you're looking at, like, 20 or 30 channels minimum that had sponsorships from Den of Wolves that all probably lost viewers because you're trying to watch the Game Awards and instead you've got all of these pop-ups for Den of Wolves Link.
Yeah.
For a Den of Wolves Link.
Yeah. Like, if you wanted to do that during your own trailer, fine. You make sure it doesn't exceed your trailer runtime, and you do it. Whatever. But you don't fucking do that during other people's trailers. One, that's just super disrespectful to them. But also, you have fucked over the person you're partnering with right now, which is also some massive bullshit. I think the fuck, bro? I
think the really only upside there is that it was Wuthering Waves, a game that came out 7 months ago.
Yeah, that has already been out.
Like, the advertisement was mainly a story update, and that it was releasing on PS5 in 20 days.
But yeah, I would have been legitimately pissed as the streamer.
Was annoying as a viewer.
Like, literally at a point, as I was leaving, I heard the streamer say, "Oh, I can't get this off my overlay." Like, literally could not change it. Like, "Oh, I can't fix this. Like, this is what this is, I guess."
That's terrible.
Yeah.
That's awful. Just downright.
Yeah. Yeah, it was some bullshit. I get the idea of it, right? Like, as a concept, given the fact that it is a game set in the future and a kind of cyberpunk-y world, I get the idea.
Well, it's like the same type of marketing that, like, Watch Dogs did.
Yeah, but Watch Dogs didn't do it in that exact manner.
Yeah.
Watch Dogs did it more responsibly. Especially because, as far as I'm aware, everyone that partnered with Watch Dogs to do stuff like that was aware of when it was going to happen and what was happening.
I mean, this isn't related at all. Not even in the slightest. But I was just thinking about terrible marketing gimmicks.
Yeah.
And you know the metalcore...
Pepsi, get an airplane.
I mean, yes, that was a terrible marketing gimmick too. You know the metalcore band Up on a Burning Body, right?
Yes.
Do you remember the time that... Let me make sure I got the name right. Yeah, you remember that time Danny Lil's, the vocalist's Twitter was taken over by his girlfriend because he was kidnapped?
Oh, yeah.
And, like, there was a video of him being thrown in a trunk. And, like...
Yeah, that was really fucking bad.
Alt Press was like, hey... Like, on their Twitter, they're like, hey, this guy's actually been kidnapped. And, like, there was an active police report about it. I hope they got in trouble with the police for it, honestly. Like, ACAB, but also... like, faking an abduction for advertising is a terrible idea.
Yeah, like
it was for The World Is My Enemy Now, right? Like, that was the album.
I believe so. Some people, especially in advertising teams, need constructive feedback. Definitely need to run things by, like, legal, and also probably, like, by an ethics committee to just be like, hey, yeah, sure, you're not doing anything, and, like, in the case of the lawyers, be like, no, that one's illegal, and then for the ethics committee to be like, it's not illegal, but it's morally wrong and probably gonna piss people off, or it's just kind of rude, man. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, it's not a lot more work.
I just looked this up, and, like, there's still articles for, like, Metal Injection. There's, apparently, at the time, they announced that the rest of the tour was canceled because Danny Lil had been kidnapped and was missing. And then, obviously, they uncanceled the tour.
Yeah, but people definitely refunded tickets.
Yeah, like, It's obviously Den of Wolves not as bad as that.
Yeah.
But every time I see terrible marketing, my brain always like remembers Danny Little kidnapping himself for clout.
Yeah. But I think that's basically it for this in the cockpit. Obviously, we both have other things we could talk about.
Yeah,
but
like
we don't need to. We can save that for January.
Like I'm almost done with Witcher 3 finally.
Yeah, I've played a bunch more of Cursed Golf Story. I've been listening to Wind and Truth, the new Stormlight Archive book, but like that's all January stuff now.
Yeah, maybe I'll actually like finish Stormlight by then.
Maybe I'll finally beat the first level of Cursed Golf Story.
Maybe I'll be done with Witcher then.
Like
I killed Imrith.
Yeah, I've really only been playing the game because it's I don't need my brain.
Completely and
I can listen to a book. Like I could probably beat the first level if I actually thought more, but I don't want to do that. It is a mindless game for me while I do a book.
Completely and absolutely not related. Witcher is like my winter game.
Oh, I thought you were going to say completely and entirely not unrelated. There's a new Coheed album coming out.
There is a new Coheed coming out.
That is another thing I would talk about. This was a different episode.
Coheed going on tour with
Periphery.
And another band I like. My brain is not linking.
I don't remember either. I know it. Boo.
The Used is also going on tour, and the Used tour is really cool because
I think it's Mastodon, maybe?
Mastodon's the Coheed and Cambria. But the Used tour next year, they're doing 3 days in every city they do. And each day is a back-to-back-to-back because each day they're playing through their first, second, and third album in its entirety. One, like the first day in the city is their first album, which really cool idea. Does make me think maybe the Used is like getting ready to hang it up. He's like, that feels like a big close to the end of our. But is Brett McCracken really gonna like hang it up at this point?
No.
Yeah, fair enough. But yeah, that tour looks really cool. And then Coheed with Mastodon and Periphery.
Actually, I don't think Periphery's on it. They might be on like a select show that we saw, but
I think
no.
Periphery select dates.
Yeah, Periphery is a special guest, so I assume they are select dates. But it's called the Infinite Arc Tour.
Yeah.
It was just when I looked it up to confirm. I saw Mastodon, but I wasn't seeing Periphery in any of the listings, so I just went to Coheed's site instead.
Fair enough. But yeah, there's a bunch of tiny things we could talk about like that.
But we won't. We'll just mention that we could talk about them. And instead, we'll say, see you later, and hopefully we'll catch you on our next flight when we're, once again, not doing a fucking Christmas show. I am done with it. Never again. But we will still be doing a Christmas movie.
We could do that Christmas show where there's an incest joke in the first 3 minutes.
Nah, I'm good. It has multiple seasons, but nah, I'm good.
How does a Christmas show get multiple seasons?
I don't know. It's also named after a much better Christmas movie with, I can't remember his name.
What's the name of the show? I forgot.
He plays Malcolm in the Middle. Frankie Muniz.
Okay, but what's the name of the show? Because I forgot.
Technically, it's not the exact same name. The name of the show is Home for Christmas. The name of the movie I'm talking about is the movie I'll Be Home for Christmas.
Yes,
you remember what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
It's not a very good movie.
No, it's not like Jingle All the Way or The Grinch, which are classics. Speaking of...
Or Die Hard.
We do have... Actually, okay, before we actually wrap up then, Die Hard's not a Christmas movie.
Yeah, it is.
No, and I'll explain why. And Die Hard's not a Christmas movie because the movie's not about Christmas. It's set during Christmas time, but that does not a Christmas movie make.
You know what's a much more important question?
What's that?
Why do wizards in Harry Potter celebrate Christmas when Jesus is just like not even a really good wizard?
I don't know. I watched a 10-hour video about Harry Potter recently, and Christmas wasn't ever talked about, actually.
I think it's a good question.
It was mostly about the world building in Harry Potter. And you bring up a valid point.
Like,
they should be celebrating Yule, right? Like that makes more sense.
Yeah, we know people can come back from the dead. Voldemort does it. We know Horcruxes can exist, so you can ostensibly kill someone, but they will still exist. And what's that? Like, he heals some sick. We know they have magical ways to cure our people. Happens multiple times to Harry, and then he changes some water into wine.
Which is just transfiguration.
Mm-hmm. There's an entire vast class subject about it.
Yeah, Professor McGonagall teaches transfiguration.
Mm-hmm. So,
although actually technically that'd be charms, because in the world of Harry Potter,
it would be a Flitwick study.
Transfiguration is the changing of the function of something, and charms is the changing of what something is,
or the properties of a thing, thus to make it like float or something.
It's specifically changing what something is versus changing function.
Yes, but arguably it changes the properties of it more than it changes exactly what it is. On a more specific level, it's changing properties specifically, because you're not like changing the feather when you float it, but you are changing its properties, and that is a charms class lesson.
Yeah, well,
no one ever accused J.K. Rowling of being good at writing.
I mean, several people have.
Yeah, but they were all wrong. They had just never read a fantasy book before.
They've never read good, like...
If you want a good, like, magical fantasy book set in school, aimed to more children, read the Charlie Bone books.
Oh, I thought we were going to talk about Ursula K. Le Guin and Earthsea.
You could read Earthsea too, but it's not as schooly after a bit, whereas Charlie Bone, very much like Harry Potter, is like all school-based.
Neither is Harry Potter.
Until like literally the last book.
Yeah.
It is. And Charlie Bone is very much the same way. So like, I was saying, like, if you want something, in my opinion, that is about the same like reading capacity, like same difficulty of reading, and probably about the same age demographic, also set in a school, also about magic, but also more like magic superpowers, which just makes it inherently better, in my opinion, the Charlie Bone books.
I will say I think the Charlie Bone books are written better as well.
Yeah.
It is upsetting that they were not as successful.
No, I also think they could have made better movies.
Did they make movies for Charlie Bone?
No, they didn't make a single fucking one. Wild, right? I think it actually could have done well. And I also think it probably would have made a better TV series than like the Percy Jackson books.
Percy Jackson book season 2 is getting ready.
Yeah, I know. I'm not interested.
I don't know if it's getting ready to come out or if it just finished filming.
I'm not very interested. I watched the first season. I was like,
I thought the first season was very good.
It was so much better than the movies, but I was still very much like, eh. I might watch it. Like, if you want to watch it, I will watch it with you. I don't give a fuck.
I thought the first season was very good.
I thought it was alright.
I imagine what would happen now if we get a Charlie Bone movie now.
It'll be bad?
It'd be like the Artemis Fowl movie.
God, no. That was so bad. That was such a bad movie. It was also never a book I wanted to adapt it into a movie or a TV show. I just didn't think they would do it well.
Yeah, it just didn't feel like... Oh, well. But yeah, I think that's it. I think we're done. We pushed it a little too far, but also... J.K. Rowling sucks. Don't support her writings. Hopefully Warner Brothers eventually buys her out of that shit, so if you like Harry Potter, you can eventually go back to buying that stuff without making her money.
Yeah. Instead, go read a book series about a kid who can go inside of paintings.
Or just...
Go read a book series about a kid who can skidoo.
Or just go read the Cosmere.
That's a bigger ask. It's a better ask, but a bigger ask.
The Dresden Files?
Also a bigger ask, but also a better ask.
Yeah, so there's so much more. There's so many
quality books. So many more quality books.
Just don't read books by shitty TERFs.
Stop basing your personality around Harry Potter and instead base your personality around the Cosmere.
Although
even the quiz to find out what group you would be part of is better.
Although, is supporting Brandon Sanderson better than supporting J.K. Rowling?
Yes.
He does tithe the Mormon Church.
Yeah.
Which push for anti-LGBTQ legislation.
Yeah, but I know he also spends his private money to push for progressive things. Like, it is a negative, definitely, but most of his own private spending and private charity, like funding that he does go to actually really good causes. It's just, he is unfortunately part of a faith
a cult. He's part of a cult.
Yeah.
Honestly, I was being mostly facetious. He does tithe the Mormon Church, which
does suck.
But he isn't actively pushing for his country to make laws to restrict LGBTQ people.
Yeah.
So in most ways, Brandon Sanderson's a better human being.
Mm-hmm. He also has an entire convention just based around his books.
Yeah, that was last weekend.
Yeah.
There's a thing at the convention called World Hoppers Ball now.
Yeah.
Where people dress up as characters
or in the style of the world, not specific characters either.
Oh, I didn't mean like guests dress up as characters.
They dress up as...
I mean, there's like paid actors to dress up as the characters.
Yeah. And guests will also dress up as if they are part of the world.
Yeah.
Worlds.
Really cool.
Mm-hmm. I'd be from Taljane.
There's only one world that's the proper world to be from. That's the one where I get to wear a black cloak and wear it with my hood up and pretend to have magic metal powers.
You know what? I lied. I'll be from Sixth from the Sun.
I don't know what that is.
Mm-hmm. I know you don't. The name of the planet is the Sixth from the Sun. I think it's the Sixth. I might have the number wrong.
Scadrial. That's what I'm talking about. Scadrial.
Sorry, it's First of the Sun. The book is Sixth of Dusk. My bad.
Well, according to a very popular...
What the story is.
According to a very popular, although facetious fan theory on Reddit, you could just dress as a person from Earth.
No.
Because according to this fan theory, Brandon Sanderson is a world hopper. He's specifically one of the world hoppers like Wit, who gathers stories and tells them.
World singer.
He's a world singer. But he's also a world hopper, and he's using his world singing to convince us that the rest of the places aren't real.
Okay. I'll be from Braze.
I don't know what that is either. Please stop.
Yes, you do.
I don't know what Braze is.
You know that one.
No, I don't.
Yes, you do.
You can't prove anything.
You just don't pay attention to names.
I'm terrible with names. Is Braze Stormlight?
Yes, but it's not the planet. The planet you're thinking of is Roshar. It's the other planet. It's been mentioned.
Has it?
Yes.
Who's from Braze?
The Voidbringers. It's where they go when they die, normally.
Oh.
They've said it multiple times.
I don't think they've said it.
They have.
I don't think they've ever said that.
Literally, they talked about it when Taladale's introduced.
Anyways, if you want to hit us up, let us know your thoughts on this year's Video Game Awards, or what planet you would want to pretend you're from if you went to the World Hoppers Ball, or why J.K. Rowling isn't as bad as Brandon Sanderson. I mean, you're wrong. and we will block you from every social media if you defend J.K. Rowling. But you can let us know why you think she's not as bad a person as Brandon Sanderson by reaching out to us in a myriad of ways. First and foremost, on Blue Sky at Copilots Review.
Or you can find us by emailing us at copilotsreview@gmail.com.
Or you can find links to both of those, as well as our YouTube, Patreon, Discord, our second hidden email, all of that at copilotsreview.simplecast.com.
Have you checked the second hidden email? I forgot it existed.
I don't even know what the second hidden email is anymore, or what the login is for that.
It's so hidden, even we don't know it.
But you can reach us there, I promise.
Until then, catch us on our next flight.